Hey guys, it's Alyssa and I am back with a really quick video because I feel like I need to acknowledge some of the comments that I've been getting, especially on one of my latest videos regarding the criminalization of homelessness. Yeah, so it's nothing like crazy, nothing bad. I want to clear up some things that I think a lot of people might have misunderstood and kind of just my thoughts on what a lot of others have been commenting. So yeah, let's get into it. Honestly, I think the comments, the thing about the comments that really blow me away is just like how stupid how stupid people can be, and just like how ignorant people can be, and how when people, one, don't understand something, they don't sympathize with it, they don't identify with it, and obviously people of course can just have like a different view of it, how much like just hatred and like vitriol can just spew from people. Like the comments, some of the comments were just really stupid. I mean, most of them, a lot of them were insane. Well, I won't say most of them. Most of the comments were actually really like supportive, and a lot of people had a lot to add on to like the research and my thoughts that I had on the matter, and that was also really amazing to see. First of all, let me acknowledge the good that came from that video. You know, even comments that I didn't agree with, I was like, wow, that's still a really good point, you know, that's still really something I should think on. Have my thoughts from the video changed? No, but I also think that I do want to clarify some things, like what I think about what's going on, and I also want to address some of the comments. So I honestly, I just want to address just some of the stupidness that I'm seeing in the comments, because it's just like there's no way people are walking around with this level of intelligence and they get the right to vote. You know what I mean? Like, so let's start off with one of the first kind of stupid comments that I got, and they deleted it after I responded to them, and they were kind of just like, well, you know, don't you think families have the right to, you know, to public areas, for clean public areas, you know, without there being just like people out there sleeping and needles and human shit on the ground, you know, do they have that right or not? Literally a comment. And I'm kind of just like, wow, you don't even see how in order for that to happen, we have to get people off the streets. Like, you can't correlate those two things. You can't make the nexus for there to be a solution. That's very crazy to me. Like, that one blew my mind. And then I responded to them, and I wish I had saved the response because it was honestly one of my best. And I responded, and I was just like, well, two things can be true at once, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people in the comments, they don't have the nuance to grasp. Two things can be true at once. People deserve the right to, of course, clean public spaces, and, you know, the right to use those public spaces as intended. Absolutely. And then there's also the other half of it, which is true, that people need to get off the streets. Matter of fact, those two things are correlated. In order for people to be able to go back to those clean public spaces, we gotta get people off the street. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like... Anyway, let me just go on with the rest of the video without being just like rude and condescending, because I feel like that's kind of just like the connection is clearly there. But yeah, of course they have that right. That doesn't stop the issue being that people are still on the street. We still have homeless people on the street. What are we going to do about this? You know, and it's so rampant. It's a national issue. You know, so clearly the system has to step in. The government has to step in to some extent. And with Grants Pass being brought to the Supreme Court, and them being divided on it, it's crazy to me, because punitive action has already been tried and failed. Why would you continue with further punitive action? That does not make sense. But our government and our system is going to do what it always does. It's going to create cycles for people to go through. Cycles of, so in this case, a cycle of being homeless to being arrested and thrown in jail or prison or whatever. because I mean, these are going to be like felony charges. And then maybe somewhere within that step, trying to reform, and then after that, you're likely going to go back to being homeless and then back to in jail. How does that solve a problem? That doesn't solve a problem. That doesn't get people off the streets if they're just obviously going to turn back to the streets. They're going to go back. It's a high rate for them to go back. And I think another thing as well, a lot of people kept commenting. I also want to add that there was also some unprovoked like racism, which, you know, as someone who's been Black all her life, I'm not surprised. Another thing that was brought up, and I think people don't understand, is that, of course, obviously I'm advocating about this in the way that I can through my videos. But another thing I want to say is I don't think that people need more handouts. You know, I think people, when you talk about homelessness or just in general wanting to help anyone of some kind of marginalized group, people immediately think that the solution you're going to present is to give handouts. I don't think we need more handouts, you know, because clearly that hasn't gotten us far, you know, and it's further strained our system. No, we don't need any more handouts. I'm not going to say completely no more handouts, but we don't need any more. I think we need to cut back on handouts. There needs to be a smaller budget for that. And I think it also needs to kind of be more like on an individual basis. But hey, that's what I think about handouts. I don't think we need handouts. It's clearly somewhere within that cycle that's happening on a state level and now might happen on a national level that there needs to be systematic reform. We have to figure out how to get these people off the streets, you know, and that doesn't necessarily mean handouts. Do I fully know what that would take? No, I don't. And likely you don't either, you know. And do I think that we should model other countries? Sure, that could be a good place to look and then, you know, maybe see what would work best with our system, or maybe just take certain aspects of it and create our own thing that works with our system. You know, it's possible. I think that, of course, someone in the comments left a really great comment, and obviously this is, she was like, you know, this is so much more than just affordable housing. Yes, absolutely, it's more than just affordable housing, but that is right now something that's hitting all of us, whether we're homeless or not. So I think that's definitely going to be a starting point where our government's going to have to kind of get their foot off our necks with that. You know, you got to start making things more affordable, or else you're not going to have a working class. I mean, our birth rate's already, it's declining drastically because people just can't afford to have kids if they want kids, you know? And I think also not everyone should have kids. Yeah. They just need us to start producing more workers for the system, and it's just not going to happen. We're already drained. I'm 22. Like, I know people who are working 90 hours a week. I think the last 2 weeks I almost hit 90 hours with my full-time job. And that was a lot for me. I can't imagine those people hitting 90 hours per week, you know, and we're in the same age group. That's insane. By the time you're 30, by the time you're likely 25, you're going to be so burnt out. It's ridiculous. And I think that obviously that's a huge portion of it that needs to be acknowledged. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't think that handouts are also a solution. And I think it's very interesting how people automatically gravitated to that assumption that, you know, oh, well, I personally think the government's not doing a good job with this. This is clearly like a broken part of the system. Oh, you want handouts? No. No. And like, I don't know, just the way like the human mind gravitates towards certain ways of rationale is really interesting to me. Like, I could understand that rationale, but that's also, like, you shouldn't necessarily make that assumption. At least ask a question first, you know? But that's just me. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I'm keeping up with Grants Pass, and hopefully this petition does not, you know, the Supreme Court doesn't favor this petition. Honestly, I feel like they might. Either way, try to do what you can for those who are facing homelessness. You know, you don't even have to necessarily hand things out to them. Go volunteer, go help out, you know, maybe an organization that's on the ground, if that's something that you want to do. Yeah, just do what you can if you want to, if you can, you know. Yeah, and I hope that this video helped and cleared up some things. So, bye guys.